I'm just gonna get right into it. I took a little bit of a break from making these videos, and I've gotten some encouragement from my therapist and from others, from a friend, and to keep going, to keep doing it. So I'm gonna keep doing it, and I want to make these more structured. And so this is my attempt at making them more structured. So I wrote down a lot of what I wanted to talk about and see where I go based on what I've written down. And maybe I'll as I talk, it will probably more and more will come out. So it might get a little unstructured, but I'm going to edit and we'll see how this goes. So yeah, I'll just start off. If it's a little stiff, so be it. I'm learning. So I wrote down, I've been struggling with choosing what I need to do and becoming okay with the fact that I can't do every single thing that maybe I want to do. I have / had a certain level of shame and guilt in choosing what I want to do in this life. And that's because I thought that would put me into a box as a person for the longest time, like for as long as I can remember. And the opposite is true, because in choosing the things and goals that I want to have in life and then completing and striving towards them is fulfilling and is getting out of any box that I thought I would be in. It opens me up. It doesn't close me off. It's something that is only good. I realized this was only ever me being judgmental. And, that was as a result of the shame that had been instilled in me throughout my childhood. And that shame gave me the control that I needed throughout my childhood to survive it, basically. And so I was always in this state of fight or flight due to me needing it I needed to stay vigilant. And I mean, being bald and having a beard doesn't help, but I've been told I look older than I am. I'm only 26. And I think it's because, I just living in that sort of, it's overused, but like I said, the fight or flight or freeze now they've added really will reach a person. That's such heavy stress, and I can feel myself almost de-aging as a result. But realizing all these things, really fully integrating it has been such a relief, because it shows that for me it's all a choice of whether or not I can choose to use that as use this old operating system as a place of shame. So now that I fully realize this, I guess the question is, how do I want to operate in this life? And the way I want to operate, because I know I'm no longer able to operate with and from a place of shame, is that I want to operate based on my core values that I have now fully discovered within me, which are integrity, vulnerability, humor, discipline, and love. And I've really, amongst those core values and amongst other things, I've been working on so many different aspects of really embracing how those values are a foundation to me, because they are core values. And that's inherently what they're supposed to do. It's so freeing and securing, I guess, to have these values as a foundation to operate from. And I've been really thinking about how these values are made up of my experience in life so far, and how I am made up of my memories, and I wanted to also, this is what I also wanted to talk about. Something I wrote down is this feeling of wanting to escape and basically be forgotten, and from being forgotten, then getting to start all over. When I think of that, it reminds me of the Marvel movie with Spider-Man, and he wishes, everybody would forget Peter Parker. That's just one of the things that comes to my mind when I think of that. And there's something so seductive to me in the idea of everyone forgetting me and the associations they have with me that are within them. And I wish to be dissolved of the sins of my past in that sense in order to start anew. And that's not fair to all of the good, though, that's associated with me. And I realized as I've reflected on this feeling of wanting to be forgotten and escape, is that that's really showing me my need to forgive not only myself but also others. That forgiveness of others for whatever, and that the only way that I could really escape or whatever, the only way I could let go is through living in the present and not the past of my experience. And being present can be difficult, and it's addictive to go into the past. It's fun, it's easy, especially when you have that muscle that you've built up over time of going into the past, and you begin overthinking. Oh, I should have said this that way, and then everything would be okay, or I should have done this way, and then everything would be much better. But not only do I need to forgive others and myself, the aspect of myself that I need to forgive, I also need to love that part of myself and accept it, and accept that there are multitudes within me that aren't this idealized person that I thought I had to be. There's every memory, every conversation, shameful thought, every beautiful idea, every time I've hugged someone, every time I've smiled, every time I've cried, every time someone said they love me, every time someone's said something rude to me, every single thing is something that I have to love and accept as part of who I am and what makes me me. I am, what is a person if not their memories amongst everything else that they've experienced in this life. And I think for the longest time I didn't want to accept that, because I wanted to hold on to being viewed a certain way. I wanted to be, as I've said in other videos, perfect. I wanted to be deemed like worthy of their love or their attention, and that's just a hole that I felt like I needed to fill, and that the only way I could fill it was by being perfect, being this person that filled them, always giving, always thinking about how's that going to affect them? How's that going to affect this person? How's that going to affect our relationship? And there's something to be said about being kind and making sure that you're not being abrasive towards others. But being afraid to be myself is one of those things where I thought that if I could like brute force my way into being seen certain ways by carefully articulating my sentences and the way I conveyed, a certain thing, a thought or an idea or whatever, that I would be loved. When really, I mean, the only love I need is like, it's within. That's it. So wanting to escape, wanting to be forgotten is like wanting to rob others of all these great things that they have associated with me. Like, I selfishly think like that's like a sacrifice and this thing that I needed to do. That I, again, like being that person to take on every bit of emotionality, every bit of it from the other person. And that's hell, dude. That's hell. Wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Being so beholden to how others view you, I mean, that's like a recipe for horrible mental health. And it's such a blessing to have memories with others, whether good or bad, to be experienced and to experience another person. That is such a beautiful. I wish that I, had recognized this at a younger age, but that's part of the growth, is coming to terms with that and accepting that that's also a part of me. It's hard. It's hard to accept when you don't want to move on. That's enough. I mean, that's just staying in the past again, right? But if I were to have to end it on a good note, getting better at not doing that. I think I'll end it there. And thanks for watching.